Rosa מצליח sein als Lachen und Flauke in Lima da Tela. Haniglis und Nech Lima da Tela hat HaTmimim und zusammen wir Yachad, was wir Deren und Isgalsa Betimis Atela in Teles Achsidus, vor Rabbeinu und Isieno, und der Lima soll Mevi sein, die den meisten Kiem Amitzes und Kiem Amitzes Behidur, weil die HaGdomas Avedes HaTfilo, ובכל מעשיך לשם שמיים, ובכל דרכיך דאהו.
The nice thing about davening is it keeps coming up. Every couple of hours, you got to daven again. You can look at it every couple of hours, I got to daven again. Or it's every couple of hours, I get to daven again. I get to daven again.
Der Rabbi haben gelernt, darf so sein, die mit der Teile. Bolche Batero Tchilo, wo das ist der Wedes hat Philo, soll zerchäßig sein, die Mevoye Barucho, in Kuntres Eitza Chaim, in der Wedes hat Philo, und danach hechet soll das noch mehr mäßig sein, in dem wo der Teira Nigle war Chassidus.
This is what gave us chayas throughout the days, and this continues to give us chayas. And not every chelik in every single block do we see the relevance. But you don't have to see the relevance, because it's connecting to your neshama, your poshet, literally learning the Eibushes Torah.
The limud al menas basis agov bringen zu Kim ha-Mitzvah, Tatis ha-Mitzvah, und der ganze Schlemus, weil Schlemus ist der verbunden mit Tavas Hashem, und in Yuchot, in Ma'amori Rabbeinu Nisiyenu, bis Ma'amori Nisiderenu dem Rebbe Beis.
HaTmimim is not just a place of learning. HaTmimim is a life. This is his home, like the old expression is, as the Rebbe is the Tatan, HaTmimim is the Mama. This is where I belong. So in the end of the day, for a person to say, will I become such a person, it's a decision. It's a decision of what are my interests and what not.
Durchgenommen mit Tavas Hashem, mit jedes Hashem, was auch du Buiter und Hepton lernen mit dir Bietel zu den Babischen zunächst Natere. Danach darf man haben der Halavani in des Worte verbunden mit seinem Sechel Gashmi, nicht nur von Sechel von Nefesh Lekis. Man darf reisigen in dem Elam HaAmiti, wo das ist der Elam von Teira. Ich stakel bei Reiso, ubora almet in der Reiso, dort wird beschaffen der Emisser Elam, da die HaLimud beteir und HaLimud gedorsch.
You have to want it. You have to give up for it. And to work at it means to fight for it.
It's neged to the Rebbe. Goram li. Nach Asru Achrav had the Bochurim literally liegen und kochen sich in lernen.
And since this is who we are, and this is what we're looking for, with time, little by little, we simply grow in its kashrus.
Der eine Schnee im Hawaii, also so noch mehr mäßig, in neuer Atzloche. Falls es soll sein, noch mehr mäßig sein, auf zu sein, in noch eine höhere Darge, mit vielen Jerusalem und London, wo das ist der Shetevis, von Jelcho Mechail el-Choyel, der Roshetevis von Chaim, wo dann dem sich Hayole Beis David, und nechet Melis Lahoy, hat Robben bei alle Elis von alle Rabbeim, in der Teil der Maton Asara Tfachim, und bekori Mame sollte sicher sein, Lohmit mit der Rosa shal Mashiach in der Neifen shal Riyeh.
Und wenn ich schon gehen unter die, was die Rosen und Nossa, Talmidei Yeshivas, was sie selbst gelernt, aber der HaGdomas Avedes HaTfilo, und zusammen mit dem Limud HaTmimim, Pimis HaTeil, wie sie man leben, war das Wert Teile Achas, ein Limud. Red, wo Aike das Wert Gleichnis Galle, was Yisroel, wie Reise, wie Kutschebrich und Kulachad, wie sie na Maße, wo Aike, Gula Amitis war Schleimo, Deke vom Yad Mama.
We all know the story when the Rebbe called a few Bochurim on Erev Yom Kippur, Tafshin Yud Beis, the first Yom Kippur after the Rebbe accepted the Nesius, and brought them into the Rebbe's room, and the Rebbe sitting by his desk, wearing a talis, told them that they learned doch in the Rebbe's yeshiva, Seid ihr doch the Rebbe's Kinder, and I'm going to bench you. The Frierdiker Rebbe explained that the reason why Bochurim are literally the Rebbe's kids is because, unlike other people, from morning till night, when we daven, when we learn, and even when we're not doing that, we have to constantly focus on how we are going to be growing in who we are as a Bochur and being the Rebbe's son. So in the video you just watched, different collections of sikhs, all of them the Rebbe is talking to Bochurim. And the Rebbe mentions in all of those sikhs one of three things. And the Rebbe mentions this as well in the last Yechidus, Leis Ata to Bochurim, on Rosh Chodesh Tavshin Beis. Number one, the Rebbe talks about the idea that the Bochur's job is Teirasei Umnasei, learning Nigla and Chassidus Basmado Shkida. That's number one. That's our job over here. Number two, not just your mind, but also how you feel, how you connect. As the Rebbe said many times, that before Torah and mitzvahs comes tefillah. Before any other Aveda, the start of Avedas Hashem is with Avedas HaTefillah. The Rebbe said this countless of times to Bochurim. And the third thing the Rebbe spoke about many times was almost like Bechol Derechecha De'eu. The idea that it's not just how we daven by Shachar Simcha or how we learn by Seder or even out of Seder. It's who you are. What's your mahus? Once you're learning, once you're davening, eventually it changes you into mahus of the Rebbe's Bochurim. So we're going to put the screens on in just a few moments, and we're going to focus on these three things, delve into them a little bit. And this is really who we are and who we really need to become. Focus on the videos, focus on the stories. You'll understand what the Rebbe is bringing out in these three ideas. And trust me, another minute focusing on the video, really taking to heart what it says, will go a long way. Please turn your focus to the screens.
Shluchim, Pu'ulis, Avos Yisroel, all the Mivtzoyim. There are many other things they give the Rebbe Nachas Ruach. One doesn't take away from the other. But by the Bochurim, it's neged to the Rebbe. Goram li, Nachas Ruach Rav, had the Bochurim literally liegen und kochen sich in Lernen. When the Rebbe Rashab opened them HaTmimim, he's made the Seder that the Bochurim should be learning Sai Nigle and Sai Chassidus, because up until that point, most of Klal Yisrael learned only Nigle. The Chassidim also learned Chassidus, but not Bochurim. It was mainly for ältere Menschen, Jungeleit, was ein given durchgearbeitet. And they were able to learn Chassidus, the Maimorim, Ba'amkis, Ba'askole, Ba'aveda. And the Rebbe Rashab made them HaTmimim for Bochurim that they should be able to learn Nigle and Chassidus together. Because when you learn Nigle and Chassidus together, they're each mashlim each other. By the Rebbe, it wasn't enough that you were just chazening what the Rebbe said by Farbrengen. The Rebbe spoke by Farbrengen was supposed to get us excited, was supposed to get us to open the Svarim, to see wie the Rebbe kocht in Ashtikol Teire. That has to also bring us that we should koch in Ashtikol Teire. It's not chas v'sholem, a lack of iskashdus. If you open up a Gemara, Rashi, and Tesis, and you learn Aliba de Navshei, that's not only connected to a Sikhe. The Rebbe is showing you how we have to learn and how we have to be involved in Teire. Sometimes a bocher or a person can feel that Chassidus is more relevant. Why? Because it gives him a chayis and it gives him a passion in his Avedas Hashem. And he really feels connected, so to speak, to the Eibishter. When he learns a shtikl Gemara, he doesn't necessarily feel that it's taka relevant to him. That's what Chassidus is here to teach us. Learning Nigla Torah, learning a Plat Gemara, learning a Sif Shulchan Aruch. whatever it may be, you're connecting mamish to the Eibishter, and this is kiheim chayenu v'eirech yomenu. This is what gave us chayes throughout the days, and this continues to give us chayes. And not every chelik in every single blot do we see the relevance. But you don't have to see the relevance, because it's connecting to your neshama. You're poshet literally learning the Eibishter's Torah. And the Rebbe stressed this and emphasized this time and time and time again. And there was nothing more that I can say from a bocher that gave it the Rebbe the tremendous nachas ruach, was to hear as the Bochurim kochen sich and lernen, and specifically Nigla. Rebbe wanted every single bocher be'etzem should try to write Epis HaChidush, even if it's not the Gresta Ge'onis. Someone once asked the Rebbe on Yechidus, how do you write a pilpul, or how do you make a pilpul? So the Rebbe told him, you take a little bit from here, you take a little bit from there, and you put it together and you create a pilpul. Bocher HaTzutzikul that just started to learn in yeshiva should write. Makes no sense. But the Rebbe wants this from every single one of us to try our best to see if we can write something, because that literally, it brings out a tremendous koch in lernen, sai in nigla and sai in chassidus. You have to learn in an oifen that you see hatzlacha. If you go too much and you're not going to see hatzlacha, you're not going to have a chayes. But if you decide, together with your mashpia, together with your magachia and your Rosh Hashiva, and you're going to know that fully well, whether it's one Amud Gemara, a Blat Gemara, this test, Gemara Rashi Teisvus, you learn the Maimer, and you learn it again and again, and you feel that you know the Maimer Lefierech, and you have Atzloche, absolutely Bodekam Nusa, that will give you a koch and a chayis, and a tainuk, satisfaction, to continue learning more. Sometimes it could take a week, it could take 2 weeks, it could take a month. But you have to be consistent and see the first hatzlocha through to the end. Hatzlocha, geredes hatzlocha.
For a shliach to be successful and not to deal with davening honestly and personally is not a shliach. I once, in Yechidus, I asked the Rebbe about machshavas zaros in davening, and that it was hard to daven because so many machshavas zaros. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was certainly hoping that the Rebbe will give me the magic answer with which to get rid of them, and then I could be able to daven like it. And the Rebbe said one thing. He said, "Kuk arayin and siddur." Well, Asius Meiris came to realize that what it means is it's about looking into the siddur and doing your job. Doing what you're supposed to do. You just look into the siddur. Val Asius Meires, Ashrei, Yeshrei, Veisecha, Eid. Just focus right here. The light is coming straight from these words right here. When I open up a Gemara and I see how much I don't understand, and think about the shir yesterday that I understood less of, and now I'm starting to battle a Tosfos. You know, somebody in the Kittas should be able to figure this Tosfos out. And what does it make me feel? Is I feel like a loser. Nasa mechiv li beizakim elef pamim kocha. That's what the Alter Rebbe says, and it says mamish like that. I really do connect to the Eibishter when I'm davening. So now already it's a whole different perspective. You become dovik to the Eibishter. We meet regularly, and if we meet regularly, it cannot help but make me feel better about myself. Every day, 3 times a day, with Melech, Malchayam, Lochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, himself. Everything is in his pain and mikol asagav, just to hear me say Shma Kelenu. So now the first Seder is better. And if the first Seder is better, Mincha is going to be better. And that continues to build on itself. And the nice thing about davening is it keeps coming up. Every couple of hours, you got to daven again. You can look at it every couple of hours, I got to daven again. Or it's every couple of hours, I get to daven again. I get to daven again. Now, I'm not going to tell other people this, but hey, I'm a Eved Hashem. Yeah, the Eibush knows what I mean when I say that. It means I show up. I show up to see him 3 times a day. The Rebbe is our head. I don't think about my head when I think about the Eibishter, but I think with my head and I think through my head. Even though I'm not focusing on my head, I'm focusing on the Eibishter. Our connection to the Eibishter is through the Rebbe, okay? The Rebbe is the Mutzah Machaber, us with the Eibishter, all the time, when we think about it and when we don't think about it. Where does this kashrus come from? It comes out of the air. It comes because one person screams, "Ich hab lieb the Rebbe," or is nicht kein Mekusher, or whatever. To be a Mekusher means to work. To be übergegeben to the Rebbe, you have to work at it. You have to want it. You have to give up for it. And to work at it means to fight for it. And the only fight that you have to become a Mekusher is the fight with your own Yetzer Hara.
One of the things that were emphasized by the Rabbi from the establishment of Temimim was that yeshiva should provide a dormitory and the eating should be in yeshiva. When there were tekufas that not, from the Rebbe Rashab, from the Frierdiker Rebbe, there was a strong frustration and a disappointment, which was different to other yeshivas in those days. The reason, obviously, is because Temimim is not just a place of learning. Temimim is a life. This is his home, like the old expression is, as the Rebbe is the Tatan, Temimim is the Mame. This is where I belong. The kasher with the Rebbe is, as the Lashon of the Rabbeim called each other, is always Adinenu Mereinu V'Rabbeinu. Obviously, the beginning is the Rebbe is the Adon. The Rebbe says, obviously, we have to obey. And that's obviously the first step. You say the V'ikra V'Sharsha, and if someone wants to skip that step, so he doesn't begin any relationship. But there's the second stage. The Rebbe is Mereinu. On a very literal level, the Rebbe is our teacher. Our teacher means that if you walked out of a shir and you didn't gain anything, nothing changed, you don't look at the taste of it differently, then you weren't by the shir. You could shackle, you could watch a Farbrengen, you could say all the words, you're bichlal not becoming a chassid of the Rebbe, b'eifim pnimi, which is the whole inyan of Chassidus Chabad. Bacher or a chassid should become connected b'eifim pnimi with the Rebbe. Our fathers, grandfathers, uncles, they became chassidim. They didn't become chassidim because they came to the Rebbe, they saw that the Rebbe is heilig and the Rebbe is a Baal Meifes. They followed orders and was gefahren auf Shlichus. He stood for hours and hours by Farbrengen. Another Farbrengen and another Farbrengen for years. And the Farbrengens molded them. They worked on becoming chassidim. They heard it by Chazorah to try and understand what the Rebbe is saying. And it seeps in. It's obviously easier to measure when a person stops doing one thing and starts doing something else. It's very rare that at some point we could start checking our pulse and say, oh, I have now become one with the Rebbe. I look at the world with the Rebbe's perspective. It's not a measurable or predictable thing. But by definition, that's what being a chassid is. As the Rebbe hat mir übergenommen. The Rebbe changed me. We're not creating a connection. We're developing a connection. We're fanning a spark to become a flame. We're chassidim. So how sad is it that the Rebbe and I, who have this atzmistic relationship, and I'll do anything for the Rebbe, but we don't connect. I don't know the Rebbe. I don't understand him. The Rebbe's view, the Rebbe's koch, the Rebbe's geschmack is not mine. To the point that you could even sometimes ask a Bacher his opinion, or ask a Yid, a Lubavitcher Chassid his opinion, so he looks to formulate an opinion. The first thing that a Lubavitcher Chassid looks to do is, let me find out what my opinion is. Let me connect with the Yesodus of Chassidus. And let's see, let's open up an Igris. Let's find out if the Rebbe ever addressed this specific Inyan by Farbrengen or in a Yechidus. Let's see how to take these Yesodus, which I care so much for, and bring it out. And then I'm in sync with my Ruchnistic life, my life of having a koch in Lukut Sichis, having a koch in Chassidus, and Trachten Chassidus, and davening, with the way I relate, my conversations, my interests, my world. By soaking in it, with time, you become a different person. Another Farbrengen, and another Farbrengen, another Maimer, another letter. It becomes part of who we are. With time, you've exercised your muscle of Chassidus. You've developed a taste. You've gained an appreciation, and you've become a different person. Becoming a Tamim, really in the Rabbeim's language, is not in yeshiva. In yeshiva, a Bacher is called Talmidei HaTmimim, meaning the Tamim is the product. For life, a Bacher is a Tamim. That's the famous Lashon from the Rebbe, Ein mal HaTamim is allem mal HaTamim. Meaning, it's a question of identity. And since this is who we are, and this is what we're looking for, with time, little by little, we simply grow in its kashrus.